India and Pakistan are engaged in ongoing military and diplomatic confrontation. The heightened tension stems from Pulwama suicide attack that occurred on 14 February 2019. India accused that Pakistan is behind this attack. Escalating the situation, India and Pakistan exchanged fire across line of control and airstrikes on 26 and 27 February, resulting into casualties on both sides and downing of 2 aircrafts of India and arrest of an Indian pilot. India and Pakistan stand on brink of war and the situation is quite uncertain. Both the countries are on the initiative to win the situation. We shall discuss this and more of it in today's pivot. Stay tuned. To discuss India-Pakistan standoff, we have with us Dr. Huma Bakai, who has come from Karachi especially for this program, and she is an IR expert. Welcome, Dr. Saba.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Huma, I would like to just ask you about current standoff between India and Pakistan. And India and Pakistan have history of standoffs. So what are your comments? Because it's not new.
Well, frankly speaking, since the Modi government came into power, all hopes of progression in relations were actually buried, because there has been belligerence on the line of control. It reached new heights in 2013 when the Indian general is on record saying that we are in a state of mini war. And of course, you know that post Uri, the situation worsened, and there were Mumbai attacks, and then there was Uri. So the relationship is in some ways hostage to the non-state actors. It is hostage to terrorists. Anything happens and it's back to square one. And all of this, I think, got escalated further when India is completely trapped into what is happening in Kashmir. And the narrative that India has for Kashmir is getting broken down. So for a very long time, India could get away with what it was doing in Kashmir, saying that this was Pakistan sponsored. Over the years, with the not over the years, I think post Burhan Wani and more recently in the last 2 years, when the United Nations gave out a report on the atrocities that are being committed in Kashmir, then there was a report by the European Union, and more recently, you know, that OIC, in spite of Sushma Swaraj's invite, which Pakistan was very unhappy about, the statements that came out, perhaps then OIC becomes the first organization to say that India is doing state terrorism in Kashmir. So I think all of that has made India very, very skeptical and also in some ways desperate. And then, of course, Modi, who has lost the state elections and the elections that are coming in the next 45 days, has ensued a whole new debate in India. And all of that just makes them more desperate. So the most recent development is the fact that they wanted to enter our waters today. And of course, they were rebuffed. So they've tried the land, they've tried the air, and now they want to engage on the waters, which is of course a very dangerous game to initiate. But having said this, I think in the recent situation, Pakistan has acted with a lot of restraint, a lot of responsible restraint. This could have gone elsewhere. It could have escalated to a point. People were talking about war by blunder. And that could have become the reality of not just India, Pakistan, the whole of South Asia. And I mean, when nuclear-powered states are in such a situations, it's a source of worry for the international community. But I think Pakistan exercised restraint, but more importantly, Pakistan also displayed its capability and capacity to hit back where it hurts.
We'll discuss this in detail. I just wanted to know that we know that this, you know, there's a capability of India to carry out surgical strikes and war limiting to Kashmir or line of control only. But do you see?
I don't think India has the capacity to do surgical strikes. I totally disagree.
This is what they claim. This is what they claim. But I just want to ask you, a surgical strike, they think, the military thinkers think that it will keep you in a limited warfare in or along line of control. Do you see any possibility of war escalating into
basically post Uri, the surgical strike that India sort of orchestrated was a lie. And even in the Lok Sabha, in the Legislative Assembly, congressmen asked Modi to provide proof for it, and they could not. But what they do is that their propaganda machinery is extremely well oiled. So a year later, what Modi did was that he actually sent a notification through their High Commission to every university to celebrate this surgical strike post Uri. And not only that, they had a Bollywood flick made on the same. So, but you know, yes, we live in an era where there is fake news and there is this post-truth construct which India uses very intelligently. But at the same time, I think India itself knows that it was a lie, and moreover, what has recently happened has exposed India's lack of military capability to a point which should be a source of concern for India. If you've looked at the New York Times article that has come out on India's capacity and capability, I think it should be a source of shame. And there are Indian congressmen and Indian lawmakers who are actually coming out and saying that we not only is our equipment rusted, but we only have 10 days of ammunition to carry out a full-fledged war.
So given that situation, I think then it is unlikely that India will escalate war beyond the line of control.
No, I think India, because India gets away with this, and India is the darling of the West, if I may use that term, India is being a little more adventurous than it should be. And I think I will now call upon the international community not to act as a fire brigade and not get engaged with India and Pakistan only when escalations reach a point where there is a danger of war. I think the international community should look at the root cause, because this is not an issue between India and Pakistan. First of all, it's a humanitarian issue. If you look at Kashmir, and from the regional perspective, you know, when India today attacks Pakistan the way it's been threatening to attack Pakistan, India is attacking the peace process in Afghanistan. India is attacking Chinese investment in Pakistan. So it is actually threatening Washington and Beijing. This is not just a threat to Pakistan, and that is how the international community should view it.
So coming back to when we talk of Modi's actions in this scenario, you know, they have not been able to prove any, they have not been able to give any evidence of Pulwama involvement of some Pakistani element in Pulwama attacks. Do you think it will cost him dearly in elections?
Well, I think these are one of the most critical elections that India will have after, I think, 73. I was listening to an Indian lawmaker only, and he said something very interesting. He said in the 73 Indian elections, India had to decide whether it's going to be a strong democracy or not. This elections, India is going to decide whether it is going to be the India it is known for or not. So is India going to compromise on its constitutionalism, on its secularism, and eventually its democratic norms and values, its inclusivity, its pluralism? All of that is at stake. So I think these are one of the most critical elections that India faces, and it is important who they vote for. Do they vote for this madness or this gymnastic nationalism, or they vote for a sane, secular India?
Dr. Bakai, I'm asked to take a short break.
Yeah, sure.
We'll be back after the break. Dr. Bakai, when we discuss Indian venture, particularly with regards to BJP and Modi's, governance, style of governance, so do you think they have political objectives and they want to meet their political objectives through this warmongering?
Absolutely. Not just this time, even last time, Pakistan bashing, Muslim bashing has been something that Modi has been using as his fuel to get votes. He's been doing that in the past. He's ready to do this now. And I am not saying this. This is what the Indians are now saying, that he has actually pushed the military of India into an embarrassing situation to get electoral gains. And you see, you need to understand the party that he belongs to. We need to understand that this party glorifies and idolizes Hitler. this party takes inspiration from the fascist Italy and Mussolini's and others. So that is the kind of state that he belongs to. And how can we all forget Gujarat? And how his only reaction to the atrocities and genocide that was committed in Gujarat was that for every action there is a reaction. He allowed it to happen. He allowed human beings to be dismembered and dragged on the streets, burned alive, raped, killed, and burnt, whatever. I mean, 1 lakh people lost their homes, thousands died, and he allowed it to happen and was smug about it. And this, till he earned the title of Butcher of Gujarat. So this man now is sitting on one of the second largest democracy, so to say, an emerging economy. And I think it is the Indians who need to decide whether they will let their destiny be decided by a man who has a narrow worldview, was brought in by the corporate sector for limited business objectives, which he has been unable to deliver. The unemployment rates in India are one of the highest right now. The rupee dollar parity in India is one of the highest under his rule. He has not been able to deliver on even one commitment. There are farmers who wear skulls around their necks and march to New Delhi to sort of register their protest. So this is what he's given to India. It's not for Pakistan is not going to lose out a lot. Pakistan has the capacity to stall this. It has depicted that more than once. And the Indians should realize what they are opting for. And I think these elections will be extremely critical.
Okay. Now there's a hard question, that is what Indian media actually talks about, that Pakistan probably broke under pressure and returned a pilot within 48 hours or decided to return a pilot. Do you think there was some pressure on Pakistan to return the pilot, or it was just a peace initiative by Prime Minister?
What kind of pressure? Pakistan is a state that has sustained pressure and carried on the nuclear explosions. Pakistan is a state that has sustained pressure and did not send troops in Iraq. So when Pakistan needs to sustain pressure, it sustains it. This was a decision taken by Pakistan in the interest of peace. And that's how I think it should be viewed. As for what the Indian media is saying, what else would they say? Because this is a high-profile conflict. Both the states emotionally invest into this conflict. People are emotionally invested. Media is emotionally invested in this conflict. So they needed they need face saving. And even if Pakistan gave them face saving, it is good, because we mustn't forget the Cuban Missile Crisis. If it wasn't the face saving that was provided to both these states that were almost ready to go to a nuclear war, we would have had a nuclear holocaust in the Cold War. It would not have remained a Cold War. The situation was very similar here. So if Pakistan did what it did and it gave India the face saving, and it is saying that we did it under pressure, seriously, so much more has happened since then that we can actually just laugh it off.
Right. There's another question that since Indians initially made claims that we killed 300 terrorists across line of control, and the camps belong to Jaish-e-Mohammed. So one that this claim, and if it is accepted outside the region and the world, it has repercussions for Pakistan. Secondly, do you think we also need to put our house in order?
Well, the last question first. Absolutely. We need to put our house in order. There is this baggage that we carry that India chooses to exploit, and sort of it's a whip it uses against us. So we've done something, but we've not done it wholeheartedly, and the political will to really take them out has not been there. I hope this particular government does rethinking there, and this whole concept or construct or paradigm of strategic assets is done with. So yes, we need to put our house in order. But answering to your earlier question as to what about 350 deaths or whatever, you would have dead bodies, you would have funerals, you would have hospitals where these people would be taken, you would have the building that was bombed. Nothing, no proof whatsoever, not a shred of evidence except those trees, which we are saying we should probably charge India with eco-terrorism or whatever. But seriously, I think, and moreover, you see, this camp that they talk about actually existed. And this also tells you that India works with very dated intelligence. Their intelligence network is almost, they should be ashamed of it, because this existed in the times of Musharraf, and this camp was removed and taken out by Musharraf after the attack happened on his convoy. They belong to this camp. Yes. So, I mean, if you are working with that kind of intelligence and then you're claiming that you've done this, for how long in this age and era of information can you whip up these lies? And then this whole fiasco about F-16, now an American newspaper, a Finnish newspaper, a Dutch newspaper, all have come out to say that this was a huge lie.
Dr. Bakai, we need to take a short break here.
Sure.
We'll be back in a while. Dr. Bakai, when we look at the situation, there was a display of leadership on either side. Modi has displayed like certain kind of leadership, and Prime Minister Imran Khan has displayed certain kind of. What do you see the difference between the kind of leaders emerged on both sides?
If you want me to appreciate our Prime Minister, I have no inhibitions in doing that. I think he emerged as a statesman. But what is perhaps even more important that he emerged as a statesman is the fact that he has the whole nation behind him. Even the opposition chose not to sort of criticize him or anything. We had a joint session of the parliament. So in some ways, the polarization that Pakistan was experiencing came to an end with this. And Zardari Sahab gave a statement recently that right now we are with Pakistan and we're supporting the Prime Minister on this. So this is indicative of who is a leader, what is the definition of leader, somebody who follows. On the other hand, I think what Modi did has had a very divisive effect on India. The 21 political parties of the opposition came together to question Modi's paradigm, to question the fact as to what he's doing, asking for proof. Every day you hear a statement from various lawmakers, people from the civil society, people from the media are now questioning what Modi is doing. So I think if you compare the leadership style, Modi, what he did, divided his people. Imran Khan Sahab, on the other hand, united the nation there, ended the polarization. And I think the biggest thing Modi did by this blunder that he committed is that he internationalized Kashmir. I think the international community must be thinking now that Kashmir is a festering wound that must be addressed.
Right. When supplementary to this question, so we can say that Pakistan handled the situation very well.
I would say that, yes. The diplomatic footwork was very impressive.
Okay. And what options now, like situation is still uncertain, like where do we go from here? And in terms of diplomatic efforts, in terms of maybe military, since militaries are still eyeball to eyeball in a long line of control, and there's a lot of mobilization being done. So what do you think, where do we go from here in terms of military and diplomatic efforts?
I think on the operational level, Pakistan needs to be on the red alert, because the adventurism that was tried on the seas also now means that the next 45 days till the elections happen are going to be extremely precarious. And the more desperate Modi becomes, the more chances are that he's going to do things which could be blunderous. On the other hand, Pakistan should be in red alert positions and respond the way they've responded in the past. But at the same time, Pakistan should exercise strategic restraint, prevent escalation. The international community should pitch in and not say what it has been saying, that both India and Pakistan should restrain from using force. Pakistan is not using force. Pakistan is acting in self-defense. It is India that is being provocative and is pushing Pakistan to the brink. So I think the international community also has a role to play. Pakistan should engage the international community on this. Pakistan should continue to be on the red alert, and Pakistan should continue to have dialogue as an option on the table, because that not only just puts us on the moral high ground, but it is also what we are looking for Pakistan in the future, because we are looking at connectivity, we are looking at geoeconomics as a construct and thrust of our foreign policy. And if that is, what is connectivity? Connectivity means that you should have at least functional relations on your eastern and western borders, and that is a prerequisite. So I think Pakistan should continue to do what it's doing. Eventually, if you look at and I'm sure you read this more than I do because of the fact that you head a center of Pakistan-China, every literature that comes out from China on China-Pakistan Economic Corridor or the One Belt, One Road initiative talks about India eventually coming on board. And that's how they see it unfolding in times to come. So I think Pakistan should do exactly what it is doing, continue to offer engagement and dialogue to India.
Okay. Dr. Sabha, just a question. What 3 steps Pakistan should take to deal with the situation in post-Pulwama situation?
Exercise strategic restraint, internationalize the issue, keep both international community engaged on this, and more importantly, I think we should not just talk to Modi, we should talk to the Indian people.
And how
because they're very good, like I just did. You see, bring up this debate that look what's happening to India. And I'm going to be more frank about this. You see, Pakistan has actually experienced what extremism and radicalization does to the societies. And we are trying to recover from it. Does India want to go on the same path? See, the fabric of our society was destroyed because of rising extremism and radicalization. India is literally taking up the same path. So I think we should engage with saner elements in India. And India is a huge country. It has judges that have been appreciative of our Prime Minister. It has Arundhati Rai, people, and lots of people like Arundhati Rai. And the civil society of India is vibrant. It's a culturally strong country. There is educated people out there who can sort of understand what is happening to India and prevent it. And I think that those are the people who we should be engaging with.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bukai. It was a pleasure to have you here in our program, and we discussed a very important current situation in our country. And that's all for today. Until next week, Allah Hafiz.